Hey everybody, I'm doing a voiceover again. I forgot to plug my mic in, my wireless mic, so the sound was not strong enough coming from the video camera. So you can see I just finished up my green mess in a previous pour. I've got um, quinacridone, violet, DecoArt. This is a black plum. I want to do something along the Valentine's colors. So I've got Carousel Pink, True Red, and I'm going to mix up. I have some with Owatrol Easy Flow. Everything is going to be a 1-to-1 ratio. Owatrol Easy Flow is a European company. You can get it from owatrolusa.com or through Amazon. And I'm opening up a bottle of Dollar General glitter paint. It's silver glitter. Just wanting to try this out. It's super sparkly in the bottle, but I'm not sure when you mix it with paints if it will make it less sparkly. So that's something I'm going to attempt. And I can tell you that after the painting dried, it shows up, but not nearly as much as it does in that bottle. So I would recommend if you wanted to use this, you could use it on top of your pour after you've finished the pour, maybe adding in some highlights with this somehow. But it being mixed in with the reds and all the other colors, it kind of got overtaken quite a bit, but it still does sparkle here and there. But all of my ratios for all my colors are 1-to-1, and you just have to stir up things really, really well. Make sure to scrape the sides of your cup, and usually when you add Owatrol, it's a little richer and creamier than Floetrol. It will often make your color look a little paler than it typically does when it's dry. But don't worry, it will dry back to its normal color. And then you want the consistency of what I call warm honey pouring off your stick, or maybe like melted ice cream. So you mix your Floetrol and paint together, or Owatrol and paint. You mix it together first so it binds together, and then you add water at the end. And water is always the variable. I always use a 1-to-1 ratio of paint to Floetrol or Owatrol, but then water is the variable depending on the brand of paint and the thickness of the paint. DecoArt, typically you do not have to add water to. I have a MDF disc, a round piece of wood. I like MDF because it does not warp like regular wood does. I have issues with wood warping, and you don't have to prime it if you don't want to. And it's less than maybe like a 1/4 of an inch thick, something like that. So I'm just putting it on top of a cup to keep it suspended above the table, and instead of putting push pins in it, which would be very difficult to do, you just lift it up with a cup. And I'm going to show you one more paint color. This is one of the DecoArt paints, mixing it 1-to-1 with the Easy Flow, or what would be Floetrol in America. I use the Owatrol just to help people that are outside of the United States that don't have Floetrol. It gives them another option in the European part of the world. I don't measure things specifically, I just eyeball it 1-to-1. So I decided to take a little bit of the red mixture and try to make a deeper red with adding some black to it. Because I did not have any of a maroon or alizarin crimson color. So I just put a little tiny bit of black, and that deepens it significantly. It takes very, very little black to make your color darker. Putting a drop of OGX coconut milk anti-breakage hair serum in. Just a drop, and a drop goes in any size cup. It doesn't matter how big your cup is, it just takes a drop. I'm putting a drop in the silver glitter paint. A few stirs, that's all it takes. Don't ever stir your OGX into the colors. Whatever you pour in first is going to come out last. So I'm putting the silver glitter paint in the very bottom of the cup, hoping that it will show up more so when I pour out my paint on my wooden disc. So I used red and a little bit of that deeper color. I'm putting a squirt of black, and then I'm using white and the Carousel Pink, which is a really bright, cheerful pink. This is what you call a dirty pour. And I'm not sure what I was saying here. I decided to add some more paint for some reason. I guess it's better to have too much than not enough. And so I went ahead and made more in that larger cup, and I think I decided to go ahead and paint another canvas. So I decided to use a small 3-ounce bathroom cup for this wooden disc, which is 8 or 9 inches across. I think that's what I had decided, was that I had way too much paint in the bigger cup for my dirty pour. So I started this small bathroom cup of 3 ounces to be just enough for the wooden disc. You know, you don't have the sides as much to worry about, so it doesn't take nearly as much paint. And if you don't want paint stains all over your fingers and hands and to go in every crack of your skin, it's always good to put gloves on. And I don't do manicures, but if you have manicures, you definitely want to save your nails. So here we go. Got a push pin. I'm going to poke a few holes just to release that air from the bottom of the cup. I always give my things that I pour onto my canvas or whatever I'm pouring on, I give them a few minutes to sit. It just gives the OGX a chance to work and create the larger cells. It gives them a chance to grow. You don't have to even heat the piece if you don't want to. I have found lately that really the heat only just pops the little air bubbles if there are any, and most of the time they're not even many air bubbles. But it doesn't really help me with cell creation. That's done with the OGX and just being patient. And I'm just letting some of that pink tilt off because I wanted it to feel mostly red. And then just running my fingers around the bottom of the disc, not the sides, but the bottom, and that gets rid of any drips so they don't dry in a drip formation. Decide to blow just a little bit there just to get rid of a little bit of the more plain area of the piece. So I'm done with that one. So now I've pulled out 11 by 14 canvas, and that's what I have my cup ready for. So I had planned on it just being one thing to pour, but I had put so much paint in there, I decided to do the canvas after the round disc. So there I'm punching a few holes to release the air pressure, to release the paint. Some people do that. They kind of run the cup around the canvas a bit. I kind of wished I had not because it made my cells smaller. So that's just something to take into consideration too. Also, I used the red paint from the squeeze bottle, which is going to have smaller cells in it. So that might have contributed to this painting having smaller cells. And there were some bubbles, so I was just trying to pop the bubbles with the heat torch. And again, I'm just letting it sit for a few minutes. I kind of use my hand like a guard on the edges to try to keep the paint from spilling over too terribly much. And then I run it kind of along the edge. And that just helps the paint cover the edges a little bit easier as well. And this actually dried quite vibrant and beautiful. And I had had it sitting out for several days and it looked dry, and I actually put my thumb right through the middle of it and it was still wet in that area. So sometimes looks can be deceiving. It can look like it's dry and not be because of the cooler temperatures and that kind of thing. So you really have to be careful about not touching the surface for multiple days. So if you enjoyed it, if you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, check out the links below the video where it says show more on your laptop or the down arrow on your mobile device. Click on the bell on the bottom right to subscribe to my channel. That way you'll get notifications when I post new videos. Come join me on Facebook and all the links below. Thank you. Bye bye.